too. We got some Spurs to get to. Yeah, I don't know how to tell you guys this, but they've got Oklahoma City Thunder's number 3 games. They've beaten them 3 times in the month of December, which is insane to me. You got the Cup, and then you got 2 last week. Huge win on Christmas, by the way. Chandler, I know there were a lot of skeptics out there, and obviously the Thunder are the best, and they are the reigning champs, and they've got the MVP and all that good stuff. But what is the deal with them playing San Antonio?
Well, San Antonio, first of all, is a really, really good team, and they match up really well with Oklahoma City. They have the youth, they have the length, and they have that guy, that's Victor Wembanyama, that clogs up the entire paint, makes things very difficult for the way Oklahoma City plays offense, makes things difficult for every team that tries to get in the paint and get easy buckets on you. Wemby doesn't allow that, and the Spurs, it just feels like they kind of want it more when they play against OKC. Like they're taking this rivalry a bit more intense, and it just feels like the games are being wanted more by them than OKC. They're chasing OKC. OKC has been to the top. They have won a championship. SGA, they have all-stars. They have MVPs. Like, it feels to me like when they play, the Spurs are chasing them, and they want it a little bit more. And look, OKC is still having an unbelievable season, and I hope we see these teams in the playoffs because these are 2 of the brightest futures in the league, and they're 2 of the current best teams in the league. So we're lucky that they're so young and still can be so much better. But it's just a great matchup all across the board, 1 through 5. San Antonio presents them some challenges. So OKC is definitely going to have to adjust when they play them next, because San Antonio can go just as deep. They're just as long. They have an MVP type player in Wemby, and defensively they're just as good, if not better. So it's a tough matchup for OKC, but I really look forward to a 7-game series with these 2 teams play.
Yeah, listen, I think both of y'all are spot on. I think this is a matchup that's going to be problematic for OKC. I don't think they're a better defensive team. I think they have one guy and they have a group of guys that makes it difficult to play the way that OKC plays. We know that they're a team that likes to attack the basket, likes to get out and use that as a weapon to kick it out to shooters. When you can't get in the lane, that messes up your entire game plan and the way that you like to play. And San Antonio in a 7-5 Wemby, that creates a big-time problem for OKC moving forward. One of the things that Chandler and I know, though, when you beat a team like this and you have their number, that doesn't necessarily equate to success in the postseason. Like, can they still beat OKC in a 7-game series? Will they even be matched up with OKC in a 7-game series? Like, if they're going to stay 1-2, both of these teams are going to have to go through 2 rounds before they even run into each other. So that's going to be something that both of these teams got to realize as well. But at this moment right now, in the month of December, going into January, the Spurs were a better basketball team than OKC, and they showed that by beating them 3 times. Now, what does that look like down the line? Like we said, in postseason, and how the season goes, that remains to be seen. But if I'm the team that's 0-3 against this team, and I'm still the defending champion, and I still feel like I'm a better basketball team, I'm still encouraged going into the postseason if I have to match up with this team, because they're going to have to beat us 4 out of 7 times in a series, and I still like my chances if I'm the defending champs.
Mm-hmm. The best part about all this is they still play each other 2 more times, once in January, once in February.
Right, because the Cup doesn't count. Oh, yeah.
It's the gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I will say this. SGA, after that Christmas Day game, and he looks so stylish, by the way. It's like a permanent visual in my brain. But he said that the Spurs are better, and he basically said, look, when you lose to a team 3 times, that's the better team. Jalen Williams also, like you said, Chandler mentioned that 7'5" dude who takes up a whole bunch of space on the floor. We know that the ceiling for Oklahoma City, I mean, we already have called them the beginning of a dynasty. Like, this looks like what is about to happen. But ceiling-wise, Lou, for the Spurs, I get asked a lot about the Spurs around these parts, and all I keep saying is I think they're way ahead of schedule, because in our minds we had a schedule. Like, what is their ceiling to you?
I think they'll be in the mix. I still feel like it's OKC by a large margin. I really feel like OKC has created a lot of separation. But with that, that's going to create challenges. That's going to create teams wanting to beat you, wanting to unseat you as the champion. And the Spurs are doing a great job of putting themselves in that conversation. Like, again, we talk about being healthy, maintaining a team as a whole. The Spurs have shown that they can have guys out of the lineup and they can continue on. OKC has shown they can have guys out of the lineup and they can continue on, and both of these teams can be successful. Now, what does that look like as far as what players are healthy? that's going to be something that remains to be seen. But right now, give them guys credit. Like Shea just gave them credit. Jalen just gave them credit. They're knocking on the door. They want in, and they want to be a part of that. They want to disrupt your dynasty. So I like the fact that OKC is showing these guys their proper respects and saying, hey, look, right now they're a better basketball team than us. And that's a great thing. That's humility to me. Like that's a team that's humble enough to say, hey, we're still working on some things. And because we had success last year and because we were champions from last year, that doesn't carry over. This year is presenting itself with some new obstacles for them. And listen, San Antonio is a big obstacle for them to be able to conquer right now. So I like the fact that they're giving them their respects, but by no means are they backing down. So to me, what that means for the Spurs is they're an up-and-coming team, but they still got to prove it, and they still got to go through other teams to get there.
Yeah, I like when you say ahead of schedule because they are. And I think everybody knew they'd be competitive. I think everybody knew they'd be really fun to watch. They'd be an explosive team. We knew adding Harper to Fox and to Castle, they're going to have a dynamic backcourt mixed with Victor Wembanyama, sprinkled in with some seasoned vets that have been there before. This team has a little bit of everything. So when I say ahead of schedule, like, I didn't think they'd be a 2 seed, though. I didn't think they'd be ahead of the Nuggets. I didn't think they'd be ahead of the Rockets with that much youth and Wemby kind of being out of the lineup a little bit and them still winning basketball games with Wemby out, kind of showing that they're still capable. Now, I think they're a good team without him. I don't think they're a contender without him, and that's obviously going to come down to his health and can he stay on the floor. But this team is on the rise, but they're more so on the rise. Like, they're here. And I feel like before this season, every team is chasing Oklahoma City, including the Eastern Conference team. Like that's the team to beat. That is the team that's set up for the future. Those are the returning champs. Every team is chasing them. I didn't think San Antonio would be this close, 31 games into the season, knocking them off 3 times already. I didn't think they'd have this much progress this early. But like Lou said, beating a team already 3 times and having to play them 2 more times and having to beat them 4 times in a playoff series, that's a tall task.
A lot. I know at some point you're due. That's all right. Way ahead of schedule. Chandler, I know we know Wemby's been coming off the bench, has yet to play that 30-minute mark, has not reached it quite yet. And we also know they're going to be overly cautious. So do you have red flags as far as Wemby's concerned on how this is being handled, or is this just we're good with it?
No, I think they have to do it. When you have a guy like that we've never seen before with that type of build and body type, the worst case scenario is for him to have a permanent, substantial injury where he is out and he misses a lot of time. So I got no worries with this. I love the fact that they were open to bringing him off the bench to kind of space out his minutes to allow him the opportunity to be in at the end of the game. You're giving these other guys valuable playing time that maybe they wouldn't get with him playing 30, 35 minutes. So guys are getting their feet wet and they're getting more comfortable. That's going to do wonders come a playoff series and for a young team. So I'm not concerned. I'm concerned just generally and overall, just hoping and knocking on wood that he stays healthy because he's got a chance to be one of the all-time greats. But I have no problem with how they're handling it right now. It's working. He's getting him back into shape. And I think, again, you just have to be extra cautious when it comes to a build and a body type like that because we've never seen it before. So who are we to judge on how they're handling it? So I got no problem with it. And it's working. Again, they're 23-8, the 2 seed with this guy missing some time. And you don't want to see him go down the Zion, Joel Embiid type road. So I think early on, you got to be extremely cautious, which they're doing.
It's trendy right now. Stars coming off the bench. It's very in. Look, SGA, there are not enough words, right, to describe sort of who he is and what he's done so far, Lou. But if we were to take a collective of the guards, the Thunder guards and the Spurs guards, which of those groups are you taking?
I still gotta take the Thunder guards. I gotta take the guys that got me there already and were successful. I still have to take those young guys over the Spurs, but give them a lot of credit. I like what Vassell has been able to do. I like what Castle has been able to do. De'Aaron Fox is playing like an all-star. He's playing like himself. Like everybody keeps trying to make De'Aaron Fox some glorified role player. No, he's an all-star caliber player, and he was once one of the best players in the league, and not only in the league, but for Sacramento, he was the best player on that team. I like Champagnie coming off the bench. I like a lot of pieces that the Spurs have, but when you still look at what OKC has been able to accomplish and what they've been able to do, different roles and how these guys play, I still got to give that edge to OKC. Now, granted, like we're beating a dead horse at this point. They've conquered this matchup right now, 3-0 in 1 month, and then in the span of 2 weeks, you got to give a team a lot of credit. But when you start adding in the other 29 teams that they got to compete against, I still like OKC and how they match up with other teams around the league. So I'm gonna still give them the edge.
Yeah, I have so much respect for Fox and Castle and Harper, and they're knocking on the door. But we're talking MVP, SGA, talking all defensive, all-star, Jalen Williams. We haven't even talked about AJ Mitchell, who's kind of probably the most improved player in the NBA this year. He's averaging 14 points. And then you got Isaiah Joe, Caruso, Dort. So like all their guards, the depth is just unmatched. But it starts with those two guys, Jalen Williams and SGA. That's the best backcourt in the NBA. And like I said, even with the teams, everyone's chasing them. Every backcourt wants to be like SGA and Jalen Williams because they do it on both sides of the floor. They're both so clutch. They can get to the basket. They're athletic. They're team guys and they're winners. So I love the Spurs guards. I think they have so many assets and they have so many different, ways they can go, whether they want to keep growing these guys together. They want to explore the trademark with these guys. They are in unbelievable shape, but OKC's backcourt's better.
I love the Spurs guards. I think this is so exciting. They're just so fun to watch. I genuinely have joy.
Really?
Let's talk a little Chet. Let's get psychological. I think we can all be therapists if we try really hard. Chandler, Chet's only averaging about 11.3 against the Spurs this season. We've already sort of gone down the road. He says that he and Wemby have never really spoken. That rivalry is happening. I don't care what anybody says. Is there a possibility that Wemby's a little in his head at the moment?
I think a little bit. I also just think Wemby's an unbelievable player and he's tough to go up against. And the idea that Chet is even saying he's never talked to him, like there's certain guys that I had in the same draft class that I used to compete against that I never really talked to, but there's still some sort of relationship, some sort of banter, some sort of, mutual respect or you know what I mean? So the fact that he even said that kind of proves to me that there is a little bit something here that they don't even have, the courtesy to say hello to each other or any sort of small talk, which I love and I have no problem with. I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for the sport. But I definitely think Wemby's winning this battle. Obviously, the team is winning. The team success is winning. If this is going to be a rivalry, Chet needs to start having some big-time games. And OKC's got to win some of these games. But I think it's awesome, and I love it. Obviously, they're both 7-foot tall unicorns that can handle the ball and score. They're both unbelievably defensively. So I love the rivalry, and I do think Wemby is at least embracing it maybe a little bit more than Chet. Like, if that makes sense.
I think it's man-made. I think this thing is man-made.
Yeah,
Listen, okay, they're both 7-footers and they came out back-to-back years or whatever, and Chet was hurt. Other than that, that's where it ends for me. Like the real rivalry, it's levels to this conversation. The real rivalry to me is going to be SGA and Wemby. Those are the MVP candidates. Why would an MVP candidate have a rivalry with a guy that's not in that conversation? I think there's a lot of levels and a lot of layers to these conversations, and I think Wemby has graduated from that conversation of a rivalry with Chet. I think it was a rivalry based on who was going to be rookie of the year, who's going to be the best 7-footer, the new 7-foot guy to come out. Other than that, what are the comparisons? I don't know what are the comparisons other than those two things. So I don't even think this is a thing. Like I don't think this is even sexy enough for us to continue to even talk about or keep going. Like it doesn't get the people going. This Wemby and Chet thing.
I don't know. Here's why, Lou, because I think, look, no one's ever going to admit to any of this, but if we truth serumed everybody out, I bet there's a part of Chet that's a little angry that his rookie year was ruined by injury, and so he didn't get that whole year of shine.
And it's over.
True.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All of the things that mattered between them two, the similarities, they both have graduated from that. Since then, Chet has become an NBA champion, and since then, Wemby has become an MVP candidate. Those guys are on different levels of their careers, and neither one of those matchups makes us want to watch TV. Like, we're not watching to see Chet versus Wemby. We're watching Wemby versus SGA. We're watching the Spurs as a collective versus the OKC collective. I don't think we're watching this matchup. And with all due respect to Chet, with what Wemby has been able to do, he deserves to be in a better position individually as Chet because he is the best player on his team. Chet is not. So I don't know if this is a rivalry that we can continue on, in my personal opinion.
Well, I mean, Wemby did say in French there is no rivalry between the two, so I have to listen to what he said. Let's talk some Lakers. This is a very different story here.